Hi everyone, welcome to Lecture 7 in which I'll be discussing self-service technology and the way it relates to services. Really this is another way of delivering a service to the consumer. Okay, so what is self-service technology? Well, it's a firm customer technological interface through which customers are encouraged to perform services for themselves. So it really does fit the co-creation of value argument that I've discussed recently quite well when it works. There's a wide variety of self-service technology. You might think self-service technology, you might think something you do on your smartphone or something that's online, but it's really everywhere. It includes things such as self-checkouts in grocery stores and in libraries, submitting license applications online, accessing government statistics online, submitting discrimination complaints via the internet. And as we see, it also can include things like voice-activated telephone services and so on. So there's a wide range. It's not new. Self-service technology has been discussed in marketing in 1949, would you believe, where it was talked about the supermarket being a form of self-service approach. We can break down self-service technology according to our understanding of the interface up here: telephone, online internet, interactive kiosks. That's another one I haven't mentioned. Video, DVDs and CDs can also, to a certain amount, provide this, as can computer programs. And then we've got whether it's providing customer service, transactions, or self-help. And all these are examples of self-service technology. As you can see, it can deliver the service at a number of different types and purposes. Why then is it adopted? Well, why do organisations use it? Well, obviously, if we can replace people with machines, or if we can use service transactions which we can standardise and automate, that can help reduce costs. Because self-service technology can provide greater customer convenience, it can provide, in some cases, greater customer empowerment, for example, dealing with government, and access to service that can engender greater loyalty to consumers, particularly in the banking sector. The Uber app is a really good example of a self-service technology, if you like, that's really helped with number 2. It can also be used to reach new customer segments. So those that, for example, like online students like yourself, to a certain extent, we can access you through the university by providing, if you like, up to a point, self-service technology here. Other examples of self-service technology might include things like accessing new markets in entertainment, accessing new markets in music, accessing new markets in travel services, people who aren't necessarily near a travel agent. All these kinds of new market segments may be reached by self-service technology. Okay, so does it always decrease costs? So the answer is depends. Here's a study from a few years ago, but the results have stood up quite well, where they actually did an analysis of whether it was cheaper for a bank in terms of tens of thousands of bank customers over 30 months before the adoption of online banking. And actually, the costs per transaction went up without any noticeable difference in customer profitability. The cost, the authors claimed, was that when customers transact online, so do call expenses go up, because more people, when they do banking online, are likely to need help from call centres. So it doesn't always save money. However, on the positive side, in areas where there is density of branches with good internet access, these people are more likely to increase their banking activity, acquire more products and perform more transactions. So the self-service technology, if you like, is a pipeline for people to upgrade to other financial products. So it would appear that for banks to get the best benefit, the authors conclude, you need access to bank staff, and which helps with the benefits of self-service technology. Okay, and of course you get greater loyalty there as well. What makes it work for the consumer? Well, here are some examples. This is from Muta from a few years ago, but in my experience, these haven't changed too much since then, of what we call 1,000 critical incidents. And you can see here The satisfying aspects were that it saved time, did its job, so it worked, it was easy to use. They're the three top ones there. The failure was technology failure. Now, technology failure could be I lost my password, or it could be slow internet in my area. People tend to blame technology even if the technology hasn't failed them. Service design problems. How then does it become, if it's true, if we accept the premise that it saves money, that helps us reach new markets, and provides additional benefits, how does it come to be accepted by the consumer? Well, firstly, you need a good system design. Well, what's that? Well, that means convenience in time, place, and the interface design information. It's got to make sense to the consumer. Okay, so more technological system or involved system won't necessarily work unless it's, I suppose, user-friendly. There has to be a readiness to adopt amongst consumers. Some consumers are more likely, they have higher levels of technological engagement. Younger consumers are more likely, we know, to adopt online, to adopt self-service technology than older consumers. Is it compatible with what we're already doing? So services which can be delivered by an app on a smartphone are much more likely to be accepted than if we're asking people to completely change the way they do and perhaps use a device that they may not be familiar with, for example, a tablet or a Unix computer. So compatibility, the way we're already doing something, is an important aspect. Now this is interesting to know, because as we get one innovation in self-service technology, if it's compatible with the way people are already doing things, then people are likely to accept that. People's level of risk is important, acceptable risk. You're relying on systems, technological systems, you've got issues of cybersecurity, you've got issues of fraud, so therefore the trust, the recovery mechanisms you have in self-service technology are particularly important. How innovative the consumers are. So people who use a lot of self-service technology are opinion leaders. These people tend to be more innovative, and these people are more likely to adopt self-service technology earlier. Now, these factors, of course, vary across different areas, and as you can see here, the adoption of automatic teller machines by Currens and Muters research was found to be related to usefulness. Phone banking, also more highly usefulness. Online banking, however, was really adopted. The factors that really caused it was the reduction in risk. Locus of control, or your belief that you actually control the environment around you, is also likely to impact your adoption of self-service technology. And this has been found in research. This is a personality. So those with internal locus control, these are people who believe they have high abilities and efforts to make changes around them, are likely to adopt. In contrast, consumers with an external, that they believe service outcomes are determined by the provider or by fate, are less likely. So it's not for everybody. As I've highlighted earlier, there are demographics. Men are more likely to adopt self-service technology generally than women, and age, the critical age seems to be 50, that there is a higher resistance to adopt self-service technology over 50. Another characteristic is the need for human interaction and personal service. Many consumers still want to interact with a person or talk to a person, particularly if they have an external locus of control or they're older. So this is a factor which would limit the acceptance of self-service technology. Lastly, situational factors. If there are waiting times, if you've got anxiety with crowds and time pressure, this will encourage consumers to have a positive attitude towards the acceptance of self-service technology. Probably why we see this in ticketing. When is it best to use this? Well, you have to consider the cost versus the benefits. As I said, the costs in terms of delivering the service at a cheaper price may not be there, because you have to invest in higher technology and training, and you have to develop systems for service recovery. If the service can be standardized, such as a transaction, an inquiry for help or information, things with our yes/no responses, ordering off a menu, for example, then self-service technology can work quite well. It's particularly helpful in managing load factors where we've got peaks and troughs in demand. So self-service technology for hotels and airlines helps manage load factors and seasonal variations by offering consumers an incentive to book off online at peak times. And of course, it can be used to maximize a return at a peak time, for example, using surge pricing with the Uber app. If the service is perishable, so services can't always be stored, so hotel and airlines example up there are a good example of what I'm talking about. Also, it's useful if you want to gain access to a service at irregular times. Now, it used to be, when I was your age, that I'm sounding old now, that if you wanted to book a holiday, you had to go to a travel agent between 9 to 5, or if you wanted to go to the bank, you had to go between, to do your banking, you had to go between 10 and 3:34. Now, of course, it allows us consumers to access these services at after hours times and at last minute transactions. And clearly, if it's managed well in terms of booking online airfares, it can help reduce waiting times. Here's an example of an application of self-service technology in Australia. Ticket prices shaped by demand. So this is a startup app called Tuvi, which in 2017 was launched a service offering on demand-based ticket pricing. This allows you to decide, within the settings determined by cinemas, what price you'll pay to see a film. So again, it's a bit of demand. The fee may fluctuate, and there are discounts for concession holders or loyalty card members, or if a different type of experience is offered, such as premium pricing or Gold Class or 3D, or on predetermined days of the week, half price Tuesday. So again, this is a use of self-service technology, linking in with a pricing strategy, also linking in with shaping demand. When is it best to use self-service technology? Well, clearly you need trust in the organisation and its systems. As we'll see towards the end of this lecture, where trust breaks down, for example, Commonwealth Bank and money laundering, this can help reduce people's use of self-service technology. Trust is important because it helps reduce the perceived risk of the transaction, particularly if we're doing a financial transaction online. Employee factors are also important. Employees must be trained, be willing, and have time to assist consumers with self-service technology, something that the Commonwealth Bank didn't really do with its automatic deposits. Technological advances that we're well aware of, such as wireless, such as broadband advances, such as smartphone applications, artificial intelligence, big data, all allow better use and development of self-service technology. Now, self-service technology use in airports has also led to increased dwell time, and the airports are making some money out of it. So what does this mean? Well, because we've got mobile boarding passes and luggage drops in Australian airports, this means that the time you spend checking in has fundamentally reduced. This is 25% faster than human interactions, and bag drops machines process 60 per hour rather than the 24 in the more traditional. And this increased free time means that consumers means that there is extra retail revenue at the airport while you're waiting. So here the self-service technology has not in itself, well, it's reduced costs, I suppose, for the airlines, but it's also provided benefit for the airport because people are freed up, and in that free time they can spend more money. Now, just be aware that there are other electronic distribution channels besides the traditional ones I've talked about here. And these include voice-activated telephone inquiry lines, automated telephone interviewing services, which are used for many organisations, such as the purchasing of public transport tickets, vote getting, and research. A word of warning about self-service technology. As you would be aware, in the news recently, around about August 2017, the Commonwealth Bank is facing possible financial collapse because of the fines brought on by AUSTRAC over money laundering. And the money laundering had to do with this use of self-service technology, instant cash and deposits over here. And these allowed deposits up to $20,000, and the minimum is $10,000 for which AUSTRAC needs to be identified. Also, they didn't report on this information. They're due to report it. You don't have to be a member of the bank to make this donation deposits, and so you can wash money and launder money quite successfully. So these are serious consequences for the trust and reputation of this bank. So really you do need the design of a good system. You need supervision of any self-service technology for it to be effective. That's it for now. See your textbook and online topics for more information.